Hello, welcome to this course. If you've been looking forward to creating your own mobile app on the iOS or the Android Play Store, then this course is for you. This course will teach you how to turn your dream into reality, how to build for other people, how to build for other business, or how to launch your own business without writing a single line of code. And our choice tool is going to be Adalo. Adalo is a no-code tool that enables you to turn anything, build anything you can dream of without writing a single line of code and launch it on the iOS and on the Android Play Store. And there's a plus here. You can also build web apps also with Adalo. With Adalo, you can build stuff like chat application, you can build stuff like real estate application, you can build learning management systems, you can build fintech application, you can build e-commerce store, all without writing a single line of code, and you can do this in days. All you have to do is drag and drop. That's what you have to do. In this course, we're going to be covering a lot. We're going to be covering some fundamentals like what is no code, why use no code. Yeah, I talk very fast. What we can build with no code, how to design our database, and I'm going to be showing you how to build a blogging application as the project. So those are some of the things that we're going to be accomplishing in this course. But I can assure you by the end of this course, you will be able to know the in and out of Adalo. You'll be able to build your own mobile apps, and you'll be able to do so many awesome stuff with no code. So I want to say thank you very much for choosing to take this course. I'll see you in class. Let's just get started with learning and building a mobile application without writing code. I'll see you in class. Thank you. When we talk about no code, we're talking about an alternative way to build web apps. That's what we're talking about. An alternative way to build softwares, to build mobile applications, to build websites without writing a single line of code or having a sophisticated knowledge in software development. That's what we talk about. That's what we mean by no code. Just like it's written here in simple terms, you will be able to build web apps, mobile applications without being a code nerd, without having all those screens open just right there. All you need is your browser and a willingness to build something, and you'll be able to build it without writing a single line of code. That's just what no code is. And how are you going to do this? You do this simply by dragging and dropping screens around. Just dragging and dropping screens in your browser. That's majorly how you're going to be doing it. There are several ways to do this, but mostly you're going to be dragging and dropping screens. Some of the reason why we choose no code is because it's faster. You can develop no code product way faster than you're doing currently. And secondly, you can build, it's low cost. You could build your no code product under $50. For example, a tool like Adalo will only charge you $50 a month if you're paying monthly, and will charge you $39 a month if you're paying yearly. So that's just $39 and you're able to build your application. So think of how much you're going to pay web developers to actually build it for you, how much you pay mobile app developers to do this for you. Products we build in Adalo will require you to hire 4 developers, backend developers, UI designers to do this for you. But with Adalo, you can simply drag and drop components on the screen, and you are able to build this seamlessly. And also, it's easy for you to get started. Learning curve is not very steep. It is super easy for you to get started when you're building with no code. And lastly, you can make quick iterations. Super awesome iterations. You can make very quick iterations when you're building with no code. Some of the disadvantages we see, it's customization can be limited because it's your kind of customization you can make with no code really depends on the platform. That's why at this point in time, we really advise, if you build it with no code, build your MVP with it. And then when you want to make very huge customization, then you can then outsource it if you want to. But at this time also, no code is becoming bigger and bigger and bigger. So the things you can build with it, the customization level, it's increasing every day. And so there are tons and tons of stuff that you can do now with no code. And also secondly, the security, it's limited. Why? Because the security of your no code of your platform really depend on the device. If the security of your product depend on the platform you're building with. For example, if you're building with Google Spreadsheet and Google Spreadsheet gets compromised, you'll likely there's a likelihood that your product will be compromised. So if you're building with Adalo gets compromised, there's a likelihood that your product will be compromised. Though in recent time we've seen lots of these companies bring out more security features, and they are building based on security requirements. So it's getting better and better. And lastly, migration can be really difficult. Migration can be difficult. It's not easy for you to move from Adalo to another no-code platform. But one way to go around this is that you allow you using a standard database. Instead of using the database that your no-code platform gives you, you can use an standard database. So when you want to migrate, the data be in one place, but you can change the element, you can change the platform, but you still use the same data for your mobile application. So lastly, I want to say this. What are no-code platform? No-code platform are tools that enable you to build apps with no code simply by dragging and dropping. And Adalo happens to be a very good platform to get started with. Adalo works really good if you want to build apps that lives on the Android Play Store, the iOS Play Store, or apps that lives on the web. So Adalo is super good when you're building for iOS and Android, but for the web application, it's still coming real good, especially the UI. The UI still has a long way to go, but if you're building for iOS and Android, I do advise you to make use of Adalo because it is super good. So Adalo is not the only no-code platform you find out there on the internet. There are lots of others that you find. There's Glide, there is Bubble, there is Stalker, there is Coda.io. There are lots of them that you can find on the internet right there. But in this course, we're going to be focusing on using Adalo. So that's what no-code is. I'll see you in the next lesson. Now that we're dealing with Adalo in this course, so we're going to ask ourselves, what exactly can we build with Adalo? We can build iOS apps, yes. We can build Android apps, yes, because I'm sure if you're taking this course, that's what you want to build. We can build real estate application. We can build chat application, something like WhatsApp that enable you to chat with people, that enable you to make video calls, that enable you to make audio calls. We can build something like Clubhouse that enable people to to get into a room and get out of a room. We can build blogging application. That's going to be one of our practice application in this course. We can build e-commerce apps. We can build retail apps. We can build internal tools, apps that enable teams to communicate together. We can build video calling application. We can build marketplaces. We can build apps that require external API connections. We can build automations and more. But this is the bottom line. The bottom line is this: apps that you can build with Adalo are apps that really perform CRUD functions. When we mean CRUD functions, I mean apps that enable you to create something, update something, delete something, read something. Those are the type of application you create with Adalo. But very complex apps like games, you won't be able to create this with Adalo. Very, very complex app like that, apps that enable you to play games, like real-time games that uses the core of your phone to do all this stuff that requires native integrations. You'll hardly be able to create that. You'll be able to create fintech application, but not as robust as you want it to be at this point in time. But if you're looking forward to creating, MVPs that enable people to create data, update data, read data, delete data, you can really build it. For example, real estate application, majority of the time, what it does is that it enables you to read data, create data, and update records in a database. That's what it does. But this doesn't mean that you cannot extend the functionality of Adalo. You can't. Especially with other APIs, with Adalo's API feature, you can extend the functionality of Adalo. For example, you can use a tool called Active AI to predict a lot in Adalo. You can use it to predict what's going to happen next in Adalo based on the data you've collected. How do you do that? You simply integrate Adalo's API with the Adalo's API with the AI product API, and then you send the data from Adalo to the product to another the other product, and that product then send it to you. And then example is this. Adalo would normally not be able to send SMS. Yes, would not be able to send SMS or be able to run email campaign. But how will you do that? You first of all create the record in Adalo and then initiate an action that when a particular button is clicked, then Adalo will communicate to an external API. That API or service will then send that message. The same thing happens majority of the time. So most of the things that Adalo cannot do, you can use an external API to do it, but just know apps that really require real-time interaction, like real-time, fast-paced interaction, as at this point in time, Adalo cannot create it. So those are the things that you can build with Adalo. Adalo still has a little bit of limitations, but trust me, majority of the MVP that you want to create as a founder or as a person, or if you're taking those courses because you want to be a freelancer, majority of the things you'll be building for people who will contact you will fall into this category. So be rest assured. And also we're going to be talking about how to get more functionality to your Adalo application using the Adalo marketplace. So Adalo has this marketplace that enable people to build components and launch it in there. So there are some things that Adalo cannot do, but those components can help you do it. So I'll see you in the next class where we're going to be talking more about Adalo. Getting started with Adalo is straightforward. All you have to do is go to adalo.com, type it in your web browser. It doesn't matter the browser you're using. It could be Safari, it could be Edge, it could be a Chrome browser. Any of the browser works really great. So you type it there, adalo.com, and what you want to do is click on the login button or the sign up button if you do not have an account already. But you can really take time out to, just go through it and see what you're getting yourself into and see what you can do and how you can do it right there in Adalo. And then you can scroll back up and click on the sign up button. Click on the sign up button and enter your email, enter your password, enter your full name. So I'm just going to sign up like so. Hi, I'm going to sign up with my email, paul.okodwar@nocode45.co. Then I'll enter a password, enter the password again, and then click on, then agree to the terms and conditions, and I'll be able to, just log in right there. So from there, it's going to ask me, what do you want to create? Do you want to create a native application or a desktop application? But this time, we want to create a native application. I'll click on Next. And then it's going to ask me, do you want to start with a blank screen or do you want to choose from these templates? But since we're learning, we'll just go on with a blank screen and say Next. Then now it's time for us to give our app a name. I would say Nocode45 Practice App. So that's what we'll call this. And now we can choose a color. A good place to find color is Canva color wheel. So Canva color wheel. You can easily find color palettes right here. So a lot of time you want to choose two colors that are different, two colors that are awesome for you. So you can easily find colors right there. So let's go back. We're looking for the Canva color wheel, not the color palette. Color wheel, that's what we're looking for. It's a good place to find the kind of colors that you're looking for. So for example, these two colors goes well, complementary color, this and this. So you can easily just turn the wheel the best way you want to turn it, and it's going to help you find two colors that really goes well with each other. And you can also choose you can choose analogous color, you can choose trihedric, or you can choose, you can just choose complementary. So what I do advise you to do is that you can use one single color, shades of one single color in your application. So if you're going to use red, you can use shade of red. If you're going to use blue is my favorite. If you're going to use blue, you can use shades of blue in your application. This will just make it very minimal. The things you have to do, make it minimal. The choices you have to make is going to make it very, very minimal. So I'm just going to copy this one. and take it down here and say my primary color, I want it to be blue. Yeah, then my secondary color, I want it to be like so. I want it to be like so, and click on the create button. So once we click on the create button, we'll see these two screens. We have the sign up screen and the login screen and the home screen. These are the three screens that Adalo always give you every time you create a new application in Adalo. So I want you to go ahead and do this. This is how to get started in Adalo. It's fairly straightforward. Come back and we'll then get started and dive deep into Adalo database and see how we can set up our database and understand database structure. I'll see you in the next lesson. Let's talk about working with data in our Adalo application. Everything about our Adalo application is data. Data flow from one screen to another, from one screen to another. For example, we are in this login screen, and you will see that data really flows from one part of this login screen to another. So it's only when a user is logged in, a user is signed up, that's the only way they will be able to log in. And if they log in, they will be able to go to this screen. And you can see these arrows. The arrows really tell you the flow of data from one part to another. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit. You can see the arrow right here like so. What this telling you is that data flow from the sign up screen to the login screen and from the login screen and back. And what this arrow is telling you is that data flow from the login screen to the home screen, but it doesn't flow from the home screen to the login screen. That's what it's trying to tell you. So the reason why you have this arrow, it's because when a user sign up, the user goes to the login screen, and if a user goes to the login screen, then then they can log into the home screen. But also, if a user clicks already have an account, the user goes to the login screen also. But what if the user clicks sign up again? The user comes back again to the sign up screen. So let's see this in the preview. So this is our application. Let's click on already have an account. You see, it opens the login screen immediately. Let's click on forget passwords. It opens the forget password screen. We'll cancel. If you say, hey, we want to sign up, we don't have a login screen, what happens? It goes back. So that's why you can see all the arrows going back and forth. So also, if we click on the sign up screen, we click on the submit button, you would see what's right here, right? But let's go back to our sign up, our login button and click it. Let's just go back to our login screen. This is the screen. We'll see available data. So see what it's telling us. It's saying, hey, there's no available data on this screen right now. Let's go back to our sign up screen and click it. Let's go back to our sign up screen and click it. Available data. It tells you there's no available data right there. Let's go back to our home screen. Click it. Say available data. There is no available data, but we can add available data by ourselves as we go. But the reason why you can find data here is because these are just the screens that are available in our Adalo database, that come with Adalo as a demo. So you can find real data right here, except maybe you're adding new feeds to the sign up screen and you're adding new feeds to the login screen. So those data will be available. Those data will be available for that person. So let's go again. Every time you want to create stuff in Adalo, those data needs to be stored somewhere. They need to be stored somewhere, else you would not be able to find them. If you want to collect data from a user, those data need to be stored somewhere. If you want to collect data, if you want to send data away from Adalo, those data need to be stored somewhere. So just know, now when you're working with data in Adalo, data flows from one screen to another. Hence the reason why your connection has to be dope. If your connection is not dope, if your connection from one screen to another, it's not good, it's not well done, you will not be able to send data from one part of the screen to another. For example, let's make something. I'm going to click on the plus sign. We'll get more on this later, and drag a test button and put it right here. We'll talk a whole lot more about this. I'm going to click on this plus sign, and it's going to ask me, what do I want to collect? I want to collect the logged in user's full name. That's what I want to collect. Why am I able to collect that? Because the data, I'm collecting the data in the sign up page. That's the reason why I'm able to do that. If I'm not collecting the data, there's no way I'll be able to find that. There's no way this page will be able to tell me, Paul, you can get logged in user's full name. So if I click on the plus sign right there, logged in user, so you see I have the email, I have the username, I have the full name, created date, updated date. So I could take the username, I could take the email, but also note that I can't take the password because the password is hidden. The password, I can't touch the password field in Adalo because it's sensitive data, so you can't really use it. And also another thing I can do, I can put the list of users right there on this page, or I could say how many users do I have, I can count it right there on this page. So that's it. That's how data flow from one screen to another. So you have to be careful when planning your database, and you have to be very careful when planning your screens so your data can flow from one screen to another one. So I'll see you in the next class where we'll talk about database, how to set up our database, how to understand database relationship. Thank you. Welcome back. So if you're talking about Adalo and you're building application with any no-code tool, including Adalo, you have to understand that every no-code tool has three parts. It has the database, it has the logic, and then it has the UI components. So we have database, we have logic, and we have the display components. For example, if you're building with Adalo, the database is very crucial because every data you'll be displaying on your mobile application, 90% of them is going to be coming from your database. You want to be able to create database, update database, read database, and delete data in your database. And Adalo called her database collection. Think of your collection as the noun in your application. Noun is a name of any person, animal, or things. Think of your name, think of your collection as the name of people, as the name of a place, or the name of a thing you want people to do in your application, right? Then each of these collection have a record. So like zero record, that's what it says here. So each of these collection have a record, and each of these record have a property. So that's why you can say add a property. So these are records, like if you group all these together, they are records, and then we can add properties simply by clicking on the add property button. And then Adalo also have property types. So these are the common property types that Adalo will give you. There's a text property, there is a number property, there is a true or false, there's a date and time, and then there is a date, there is an image, and a file property. These are the most common properties you use in any application, be it in the no-code space or in the code space. These are the relationship. Be it in the no-code space or in the code space. These are the type of properties that you're going to be using in your application. So let's go ahead and create a connection. I know you saw one thing. Also, you saw relationships, right? We're going to be talking about relationship later in this course. So let's click on add collection. So let's say we're creating a blog, we're creating a blog later, and each of these blog will have a post, we'll have a post, right? So we'll say blog post. So let's call it blog post and say add. And then each of these blog posts will have something called a title, right? Each of these blog posts will have a title. Click on save. And then we'll add another property, a test property again, and each of these blog will also have an excerpt, right? That will be a test property also. So click on save. Then each of this blog also will have a content, right? So we're going to say blog content. And then when we create blog content, each of this article will also have something called an image, right? So we'll click on the image and say featured image. So this is how you create properties in your mobile. This is how you create properties in your Adalo application. So we say featured image. Then when we say we want to add property and say, is it published or not? So we click on the true or false and say published. So this is some sort of a question. It's just telling you if the articles have been published or it has not been published. So you can see the way we are setting up our collection. We created a collection called blog post, and we created a couple of records, and each of these and these records has a property. You can see the way it works, right? So that's the way you basically create database in Adalo. Meanwhile, one thing that you have to note is that you need to create your database super well in Adalo so that your application can scale. If your database is not well created, if it's not well planned, your application will not be able to scale. Especially when it comes to relationship, when it comes to creating relationship between the collections in our database. So we're going to talk about creating relationship later. Yeah, we're going to talk about creating relationship later in our application, and we're going to talk about creating relationship in the next course. So we're going to be talking about creating relationship in the next lesson, and also we'll talk about external collection and see what it's used for and what we can do with it. I'll see you in the next lesson. So Adalo has several types of relationship. So there are ways you can relate two collections together and still make sense of your database. If you're going to be creating a very scalable application, you would have to relate your data properly, and also you would have to use external collections when you're thinking of creating very heavy files in Adalo. So let's start with relationship first. Let's create another collection called category. Each blog will have a category, right? Let's create another collection called category and say name, which is cool. Then let's say image, category image. Category image. Let's say save. So now we have a collection called category, we have a collection called blog post, and we have a collection called users. So I want you to see it this way. Each category can have lots of blog posts, but one blog post belongs to a category. You're seeing it, right? Each user can have a lot of blog posts, especially if you're asking your user to submit blog posts. Each user can have a lot of blog posts, but the blog post belongs to a user. So there are different types of relationship here. There is a one-to-many relationship, there is a many-to-one relationship, and there is a many-to-many relationship. I'll show you when you use all of those. So let's go ahead. Let's click on the add property, click on relationship, and this time we want to create a relationship between categories and blog posts. Click on blog post, and it's going to ask you, a blog post can have multiple categories. A category belongs to one blog post, which is wrong. Then the next one, it's going to ask us, a blog post can have one category. A category can have multiple blog posts, which is true. So you see, this is the one you want to pick right here and say done. And watch what happens. So when we come here, we're going to say blog post. That's fine. Then if we go back to our blog post, it will create a category. It will create a new property called category in our blog post. This is very useful. This is very, very useful. Very useful in almost every application that you're going to create in Adalo. Super useful because things have to be linking to things and things have to be linking to things. It's super useful right there. So let's create another one. So click on it. Yeah. Add a property. Now we're creating a new relationship between users and blog posts. So look at it. It's self-explanatory right here. A blog post can have multiple users. A user belongs to one blog post, which is wrong. A blog post can only have one user. A user can have multiple blog posts, which is true. So why? Because a user can write a lot of blog and a blog can only belong to one user. But if the reverse is the case, if we cancel right here and go to our blog post and say we want to add the category from our blog post, see what's going to happen. We say a user can have multiple blog posts, but a blog post belongs to one user. So this relationship really depends on which collection you are initiating the relationship from. If we were initiating it from the users table, it's going to be a many-to-one relationship. But if we're initiating it from the blog post table, it's going to be a one-to-many relationship. So as you can see here, a user can have multiple blog posts. A blog post belongs to one user. So that's it. We're going to say done. So here, instead of user, we're going to say blog author, post author. That's what we're going to write here. And say save. Then when you click here, you come back here and say my blog post for the user. So now there's another, we want to demonstrate the many-to-many relationship. You know, a lot of time you want a user to be able to like another user, or you want a user to be able to like another user's blog post, right? You want a user to be able to follow another user, or you want a user to be able to like another user's blog post. So the way we'll do it, we'll create an ad category. We'll create a relationship with the same user. Yeah, we'll create a relationship with the same user and click it. We would say a users can have multiple users. A user belongs to one user. No, a users can have multiple users. A user can have multiple users. So the point here is a user can have multiple likes, and a likes belongs to one user, right? A user can follow multiple users, and a user can follow multiple users, and multiple users can follow another user. Yeah, that's what you want to do. Another way we can initiate this like this and say done. Then go back here and just call it followers. That's the same thing you do for Facebook. You know, on your Facebook application, you can follow multiple persons, and multiple persons can follow you, right? That is the same thing. Or another way to not get yourself confused, yeah, is to go down right here. You know, just go down right here and just call this followers. Just call it followers and say add. Then click on add new and put a category and say category with users. Just like so. So now we created a new collection called followers, and then we created we're building a relationship between follower and a user. So look at it. A follower can have multiple users. A user can have multiple followers. So it's going to be a many-to-many relationship, because you want many people to be able to follow each other, have many followers, and you have many followers to belong to one user. So you can come here and just name it again. You say followers. Let's just say followers 2. So what you've done is you've done the same thing. The same thing you've done similar thing. You've just done similar thing. If you go to the users table, you still see it here. It's titled followers. Let's just name it followers 2. So what you've done the same thing, but the difference is that the first one you create a relationship between a table and itself, a collection and itself, and the second one you create a relationship between a collection and another collection. So that's the way you create relationship in Adalo. We're going to be using this thing in a lot. These are the basics, but we're going to be using this in a lot as we build simple and complex application in Adalo. I'll see you in the next lesson. If you have successfully gotten to the sign up screen and the login screen, you will notice something. Forms. So Adalo here has the sign up forms and the login forms. These are just forms. Forms are the easiest way to collect data from your users. There are other ways to collect data from your users. There is QR code, there is thumbprint, there is voice. But forms are just exceptional way. They're the easiest way to collect data from your users. For example, if you're on Twitter and you click on the button tweet, what happens? It opens a form for you and you enter your tweet and then you publish it, right? That's the same way. So forms are the easiest way to collect data from your users. To include a form in Adalo, what you have to do is to click on the plus sign, type the word form. If you type the word form and drag it into the screen like so. Yeah? So that's the way you create a form. Just drag it into the screen like so, and you'll be able to create it easily. So when you drag into the screen, it really asks you something. What data is this form going to go to when it's filled? So that's where you select a collection. So if we say it's a blog post, watch how the form will change. Keep an eye on the form while I select the blog post. So you see the way it changes. It brings out automatically all the feeds that you have in the blog post. So let's just move it upwards a little bit. Take it to the other side of the screen. So if you click on the home screen, we can extend it. So don't worry, just extend it. It's not going to do anything to your UI. We can extend it like so. And now we can see everything. We can see all the feeds, all the properties we listed. We can see the title, excerpts, blog content, featured image, and the publish, right? And so when we get to our feeds, we can remove the feeds we don't want to see and we can leave the one we want to see. So for example, we can take away the published, especially this works especially if we have an admin section of our application and we do not want our users to bother about the admin part of the app. We do not want our users to be able to submit. We do not want our users to be able to write application and just post it like so. We want to be able to check it first and then publish it. So we'll remove the publish, right? Then we can come here to the blog content and say the kind of feed we want. We want it to be multi-line feed. So this is going to be the blog content. So the input type is multi-line, and so it's going to be a blog content. So we say done. For the featured image, we can reduce it and we can, just take it to the top like so, and click on it. We can tell that this particular feed is required, right? So we'd say done. That's one way we can make a feed. And for all the other feeds like the category, so we can just, we can add it, just add the category feed as the visible feed. So when we add it, it's right here. It's showing as a drop down right now, right? It's showing as a drop down. You can see it's showing as a drop down right here. So I'm just going to reduce the screen, increase it a little bit. It's showing as a drop down right there. And also there are other feeds that we can add called invincible feed. If we click on the sheet on the form again, click on the feed right there and say add automatic feed. So when we click on the add automatic feed, the one we want to add is we're not adding any of them. This is the post author already. The post author is the logged in user, so we don't have to think about that. Adalo automatically does that for us, the post author, and then we can go back to our submit button right here and add a text to it. The text here, it says create a blog post. That's what it says. We can delete it and write something to it. Just write what we want to write and say create a blog post like so in small caps. So this is the way you do it. Once you do this, once a user hits submit, a couple of things happen. You can see here it says create. That's what happened. It just creates a new blog post once a user clicks on it. Let's go ahead and see what we've created. We'll say preview. I'm going to enter my email, paul@nocode5.co. Going to enter a password, enter another password, and say sign up. Once we sign up, it will take us to the form screen. So you can see this is the form screen right here, like so. Take us to the form screen, and then we can enter our article. We can say first article. Now we can choose an image. This is an image right there. So just going to choose an image of myself. And then we can choose, this is an excerpt. And I'm going to look for something to copy. Just going to copy all this. And just put it in the as the blog content. And for the category, there's no category to choose from. It's just going to say select blog post. It's going to say required because there's no category to choose from. So we have to go add a category for this to work. So go back to my category. Just go back right there, click on the category, say add a record. Click on add category. We would say, let's say news. Category image, click on it. I'm going to just put this as my category image. Okay, this is my podcast, Nocode launch. Then I'm going to say save and say done. Then I'll go back to our app preview. This time it should work very well. Now we have all the fields filled. So choose category, we'll say news, and then click on create blog post. Now it has been created. The reason why it did not leave the screen, it's because we did not tell you where to go after creating the blog application. So if we click on the X sign, go back to our database and blog records, we should see, you see first article, we're seeing the excerpts, we're seeing the image, and we're seeing the featured article, and it's telling us is it published or not? No, it's not. It's not published. So publish is forced, which is the default that Adalo gives you. So we can see the post author automatically. We can see the news, and we can see everything that we've created. So that's how you receive data via forms. Forms can come in different way. Another way you can create an input is this. So I'm going to delete this. Then go back to our plus sign and just say input and copy. Put it right here. So this works a lot if you're creating something like a search, you're creating some stuff like a recover password, you're creating some stuff like a login button. It just works perfectly. So this doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't go anywhere. So you can use this as a search category. You can use this as a way for authentication, for anything. So you can use it as an if statement. You'll be like, if this particular button, the text entered here is good, is right, then you can, do this. You can use it as a search. You can use it to search. Like when you're searching and the user enters the name of a blog, you can use it to reset your screen automatically. So that's another way you can enter a search right there, and it works really great. So I'll see you in the next lesson where we'll learn more about Adalo. So this time we're talking about lists. Lists are ways that you display what's in your database for your users to see. This could be a list of houses, it could be a list of homes, it could be a list of blog articles, it could be a list of numbers, it could be a list of anything. But you just use your list to display what you want your users to see. For example, if you're on Twitter displays a list of tweets, right? If you click on profiles on Twitter, it displays a list of user profiles. If you go on Facebook can display a list of posts from different users entirely that you follow. And also if you go to YouTube displays a list of videos. So they are just lists that are recurring based on certain features. For example, if you search on Twitter, you would probably search the word Nocode on Twitter. You would see all the tweets that have the word Nocode in it. That's the same way list works. List just displays stuff for you, just like so. We'll be talking about search later, but let's just leave it for now. For us to make this list perfect, we're going to have to go ahead and add some blog posts to just make it make sense. So I'll pause the video. I'm going to go add a couple of posts to our blog. You too, you should do the same so the list can make sense. Why? Because the list displays a list of a lot of things. So we can't I don't want to display just one list so that it will be very practical for you. I'm going to go ahead and add a list of blog posts that we can display. I'll see you when you're done adding yours. So I've gone ahead to add 3 more blog posts to our blog post collections. 1, 2, 3. So we're going to display this with a list. So to do this, click on the plus sign and say simple list. Drag the simple list. There are different types of lists. If we click on the list right here, you'll see there are different types of lists. We have the card, we have the avatar list, we have the horizontal list, we have the chip list. There are different types of lists, but this time let's just drag a simple list to the screen. So drag it and put it here. Reduce it, make it a bit, just reduce it, make it a bit nice. Drag it a little bit, make it a bit nice, take it to the middle, like so. And then when we double click it, it's going to ask us, this is going to be a list of what? So click on it, it's going to be a list of blog posts. Remember, a list of blog posts. And it's going to ask you, how many blog posts do you want? We say all the blog posts. Then we'll scroll down, and the title will be the blog post title, as usual. Then the subtitle will be the excerpt. That's going to be the subtitle. The subtitle will be the excerpt. And then the left section will be the image. It will be the current blog post featured image. That's basically how to add a list. And if we go on the right side, the right section, if we click on the right section, click on it like this way, we can add the author. We can add a to-go, we can add other things, you can add something like read more if you want to, stuff like that. We could say we can add an icon, and the icon would be a read more icon. The icon would just be an arrow that tells people to read more. Let's find an arrow that goes to the left. Just look for an arrow. Let's just pull it here. Arrow. So we could say it is an arrow for us. So this could be an arrow that asks people to read more. We're not going to really bother about the colors right now. We're not going to bother a lot about the colors right now, but we're going to say, hey, this is an arrow that tells people to read more. So if we click on the preview, you see what's going to happen. It's going to show us all the list itself. That's what it's going to show us. It's going to show us all the blog that we have. So we can see how to write a blog post. You can see what it is, but it's not clicking because there's no action attached to it. So you can see all the articles we have. And if we're using a different type of list entirely, it's going to be something similar. Click on the plus sign, scroll down to your list, and say card list. Just draw the card list right here. We're still going to do the same thing with our card list. Same thing with our card list. So now, this is going to be a list of what? Blog posts, right? It's going to be a list of blog posts, and it's going to say all posts. Scroll down and say title. Yeah, it's correct. Subtitle, we're going to make it the except. We're just going to make it nothing. Or subtitle, we could say the author. That's fine. We could say the post author. The post author's name. Yeah, that will be the subtitle. Or let's just make it full name. Click on the plus sign, and we say post author's name, or let's just make it a category name. That's fine. Then for the other part, for the body, we're just gonna call it except. So we're gonna call this the except for the body, and that's fine. So if we go to the preview, we're gonna see something very similar right there. Click on the preview. Wait a little bit. We should see something similar. So you can see right there. So the reason why it's appearing like this is because we've not styled anything, and also in Monterey format. That's why it's acting like this. So we click on the console sign, click on it, go back, go scroll down, and go to the format. Just say grid format. Everything will show as a grid. So click on the preview sign on the preview button, and scroll down. Everything is just going to show as a grid. You see the way it is. So that's how it's gonna be. And also, a lot of time, what we want to do, if we have tons of categories, what we want to do is to just show a category as a list itself. So click on the plus sign, scroll down, put on a list, and say we want the chip list, all the avatar list. So I prefer you use the chip list. It's super cool. The horizontal chip list, so users can scroll through the category. So this is going to be a list of what? Categories, yeah? And you know what it's going to have? It's going to have the category name, and it's just going to have the category image. That's all. So we'll click on the preview button. If you click on the preview button, you'll see it's just going to have the category name and the image. So we have just one image, which is the news, and that's the only thing we have right here. So you can click on it. You can click on anything on the screen because we've not configured it. So that's how to use list in your mobile app, in your Adalo application. It's super cool. You're going to be using a list more than almost any other component in your mobile application. Next, I'm going to show you how to create your own list yourself, because we're going to be talking about group. Yeah, we're going to be talking about group, and we'll demonstrate how you too can create your own group list yourself if you do not want this Adalo type of list. I'll see you in the next lesson. A lot of times, the list that we're given by Adalo might not be the right one for us. We want to make some changes, or sometimes even wish that we can create our own list for ourselves. So I'm going to show you how you create your own list in this lesson. So let's take away the one we've created before. The category, let's just take this one we've created before. So see what we're going to do. Click on the plus sign, and we'll just bring a rectangle in here. So to get a rectangle, we'll click on simple and scroll down, just click on it and bring a rectangle in here. So this is a rectangle. We can increase it if we want to. The rectangle is one of the most useful tool you can find in Adalo. Very useful tool. You can use it to group a whole lot of things. So when we create a rectangle, we'll add a text component. We'll add a text component. Just add a text component like so. Click on the plus sign. Add a text component. Click on the plus sign. We'll add a text component like so. Reduce it. So since we're running a blog, this will be for our blog title, right? This will be for our blog title. Click on the plus sign. Bring it down. This will be for our blog description. This will be for our blog description. But left time, we don't want to do things like this. We want to be like blog title, blog description. I want to add the image. So we can increase it like this. Bring it downwards. Just bring this downwards. Bring this downwards all over. Then put an image inside of it. So just say plus. We'll add an image. Put an image inside. Put it inside. Drag it inside. Like so. So this is our image, right? So say image source. Don't worry about the image source. So what we'll do, we can just highlight everything, yeah, and make it a group. So the reason why we're making a group is because Adalo make use of flexbox when it's defining where to put the item. So these groups will just be grouped with each other. So they will be grouped with each other and they're not going anywhere irrespective of how your screen changes. So we'd say make a group. That's the first thing we'll do. So you can see that we cannot move all this together. Everything. We can move everything just like so. So for the image, we can move everything and then click what's inside. So for the image, we just turn it into, for the image, leave it that way. Just leave it that way for now. Then click on it and say make a list. So click on this three icon here. Click on make a list. So when we make it a list, you see that it duplicates. So it's going to ask us list of what. So you can see it's just everywhere and it's moving all together. Click on it, say list of blog posts, all blog posts. So then it's going to ask you, what do we want to put in this component? So this right here is going to be, current blog post featured image. Yeah. This right here, this right here is going to be current blog post title, and we'll just click on the formatting, make it say 20, make it like 20, and make it super bold, make it bold. Then this right here is going to be the current blog post description, current blog post, except, yeah, just leave it like that, except, yeah. Then we'll come right there, click a plus sign and put it at the bottom here. So if you can see, whatever I do in the first screen is appearing on the second screen. So we're just going to say current blog post author. That's what we'll call this one. We'll call this the post author. Click on the plus sign. It said, click on the plus sign. It's not appearing, so let's take it upwards. Why? Click on the plus sign again, drag in a text inside of it. Yeah, click. So dragging the text inside of it, we're going to call this the author. So click on it and say current post author, full name, or we can say category, that's fine, category name, that's fine. Click on the formatting sign and let's just make it 12. Make it 12 or make it light. And take it to the left. Align right. Yeah, that's true. So we're good. So something else that we can do is that we can click on the rectangle and give it some border. Some nice border, or we can give it some nice shadow. So to give it a border, we simply click this. It's going to give it a border. Like so, you can see it has a border now. But we don't want to give it that type of border. We want to give it a, click on the rectangle. No, just click on the rectangle. We don't want to give it a border. Let's just give it, okay, let's give it a border and give it a shadow too. So we'll go to edit styles and we'll give it a shadow. So we're going to talk about this later in the course, but let's just do this now. Then we'll go back here and say item spacing. So we just to get the item spacing, we just click on the group itself or on the list itself. Just make it 10 so we can have equal spacing around. That's something. Then click on the rectangle for one last time and go down and say component. Click on the rectangle. We're gonna give it a color and say no color. Just make it white. We can make it white, just make it white if you want to. Yeah, just make it white, and that's all we have to do. For the border color, we can play with a lot. We can play with it and make it red make it blue if we want to. Make it our chief color if we want to. This is blue, and then we'll go ahead and say preview. So say preview. So note, a lot of the things that you might do in Adalo might not be really perfect. So you have the luxury of making changes over and over again, and that's the reason why it's a no-code application, because you can make changes over and over again. So you can see the way it's looking. Somehow the news is not showing, the header is showing, but this is not getting to the end, and so that's trouble. And the image itself is not looking very great. So you can always go back again. Click on the image, just click on the image and say, want it to be show full image, don't crop, stuff like that. And on this one, we want it to be like, hey, we want you to get to the end. For the accept, we could say we want you to get to the end. And then we can click on the formatting. We can change the color of the accept and make it really black if we want to. And change the font of the accept and make it different. On the title right here, we can change the color, make it real black, just make it real black. And we can say, oh, we want this to be 18. We don't want it to be that big. And for the spacing, we can say we want the spacing to be longer, 20. Want it to be longer. And also, if we click on the component, we could touch the group, touch the rectangle. And then right there, we can say, hey, we don't think we like the blue. We want it to be a bit softer. We don't want the blue. We just want it to be, let's just, choose something else. And then go ahead and make a preview. Right there. Make a preview. I'm pretty sure it looks a whole lot better now compared to what we have before. So that's how you create your own group yourself. Oh my God, it's worse because the image is now full. It's worse now, but we can always, just work on it and change it the way we want to do it. So that's the way you likely create a custom list for your own self. I'll see you in the next lesson. This was a bit longer, but I needed you to understand it. I'll see you in the next lesson, and we'll just keep rolling. So let's talk about branding. Your app has its own branding on its own. You can customize your app the way you want it. That's one flexibility you have in Adalo. The fact that you can brand your app the way you like and you can customize it the way you like, especially if you know how to use groups, which we learned in the last class. So the basics here is this: when you're branding your application, when you're getting started with your Adalo application, there is this option it gives you, which you saw earlier. Tells you to pick your favorite color, your primary, your secondary color, or it tells you to pick your primary color and your accent color that you're going to use. So you can still do this right here in the application. You click on the settings. And then you can add your short description for SEO purpose. And then you can add your app icon. Don't forget to follow the specification. Your app icon should be 1024px by 1024px. And you can use, Canva, or you can use Fiverr to make your own logo if you want to. That's fine. And then you can put your Mist Panel token here for analytics. So Mist Panel, it's an analytics that you use to track your app, to track events that happen in your application. It's similar to Google Analytics, but just imagine this time it's Google Analytics on steroids. Very awesome, very amazing tool. And also you can decide not to share Adalo banner. This only happens if you are in the upgrade version. So when you upgrade, you don't have to, have this Adalo brand in your application anymore. And then also we have the display setting. If you tell Adalo to display your screen connections, of course it will. For example, if I uncheck this, you won't see any screen connection right here, but it just gives you some visual clue that you can use. But this will not show in your app when you decide to produce it. It won't. And we also have app access. But these are just settings that does not really concern you. What you really want to do here is to fix all this, yeah, fix all this, and then we also have the yeah, the app access here. You don't really have to do any of those. So we also have the branding here, this right here. Yeah, so when you're done with the setting, you're coming here to the branding section of your app and you're choosing your primary color, your secondary color, and your default background color. So when we click on I'm going to start with the default background color. If you click on this and we say we're going to make it red, you see what's going to happen? Your entire app is red. If you say we want to make it blue, your entire app is blue. So anything you choose here, that's how it's going to be in your application. But normally you use white because it's a very fun color to use. It's nice. But if you know you have very good, you have you know your way around designs, of course you can play with all this. But lots of the time, it's safe when you use white. It's really safe when you use white. If you're designing some cryptocurrency application, black. Some cryptocurrency application, black is a good thing to do. So crypto application, NFTs, and the rest, black is a good color to begin with. So let's go up. Let's move forward to the primary color. If you click on the primary color, we can change it here like so. Remember, you want to find two colors that are not far from each other, two colors that are very good, that the combination itself is very good. And also your color really depends on the industry you're playing at. Fintech loves blue, expensive jewelries loves black. So ladies love pink, kids love a whole lot of color. So it really depends on the niche you're working on. That's how you choose your color. But a good way to get started is using the Canva color wheel that we talked about the last time. This is the color wheel, and so you can easily, determine the niche that you want to work with, yeah, and pick a color from here, like so. If you're thinking of saying, oh, I think my color is going to be green, then it's going to give you another color that will go with it. But one other thing that I think you should know is that you could go with monochromatic colors. You have one color in your application, but you just have different shades of that particular color. You must have seen this type of shades very often in mobile application. You have just one color and then you have shades of the other color. Or you can choose color that are either of the spectrum. So if we go to analogous color, you'll be able to see colors that are either on either part of the spectrum, just like so. So we have triadic, which is 4 colors. So you can make your app 4 different colors. You can say, I'm going to choose blue to be my primary button. I'm going to choose this other color to be my secondary button. I'm going to choose this to be my accent color. But trust me, you won't fail if you go with one color, black and white. That's the best thing you want to do. You want to go with one color and you want to choose black and white. So I always like to stick to monochromatic color. So I pick either of the color, probably just this one, and stick with black and white most of the time. That's what I always like to do because it's safe. It gives you that cohesion that you're looking for. It makes your app very, very easy. It makes your app very easy to look at. It just makes things super awesome for you. Easy, simple, and straightforward. So you don't have to think about the colors too much. Besides, if you're taking this course, you might be a designer, but I'm pretty sure the majority of you would not be a designer. And so you wouldn't know all your ways around color. So if you don't, just go ahead and stick with one single color, black and white. That really makes sense all the time. So we also have the default test color. The default test color is black, but it's not 100% black. It's 6% black RGB. That's the default color, but we can move it all the way to black. Yeah, we can move it all the way to black, or you can change a different color entirely. You can see your default color, it's red if you want to. You can see your default color, it's blue if you want to. But really, like I said before, black is always a fail-safe color. Then we also have the font. If you subscribe to if you upgrade to the premium version, you would see tons of different fonts here. like 1,000 Google fonts. So, but when you are in the free version, you can only choose three different fonts: sans serif, Oxford, and Merriweather Pro. So, sans serif is awesome. It's just awesome, and you can pair it up with Merriweather, and it works really great. Or you can use the Merriweather for the heading, and then you can use sans serif Pro for the body of the text. So that's basically how easy it is for you to brand in Adalo. And you can also, make some very good changes when you're creating your list. You can use rectangles to make some very, very cool designs if you want to. So that's how you get started. That's how you get started with branding in a very minimalistic way in Adalo. I'll see you in the next lesson. So one thing that you're going to be using in your application a lot is search. The reason is because people are always looking for a shortcut to do things. People are always looking for an easy way to do things. So you're going to be using search a lot. So I want to show you how you can implement search in your application. So this is what we're going to do. We want to implement search in our homepage, right? So click on this button. Let's just, drag it down a lot. Let's just drag it down a lot. Take it up there and click on the list that you have inside. Drag it downward to leave room for the search box. Let's click on the plus sign and say input. Just type the word input right there. Type the word input and drag it to the screen. And then replace the enter text and say search. Yeah, just or let's say enter a search word or a search phrase, any one of them. So what we want to do is that when a user enter a phrase here, we want to search it, we want to filter it, we want to use the phrase on top of here to filter what we have done here. That's what we want to do. So this is how we're going to do it. We'll click right here. Yeah, click on the list now and go to filter. Say add custom filter. We would say where. So it would ask you which part do you want to search for. Do you want to search for the title? Do you want to search for the excerpt? Do you want to search for the blog content? One thing that's awesome is that you can search for everything. You can search for all of it. So let's start with the title. Click on it. Where title contains. Don't say equal. Where title contains what is entered in the search bar. So we'd say input, other component input. So the input we're seeing now is this top phrase. Is the input that we put here right here. So we'll say, then we'll come here and put an or. Don't put an and. We'll put an or. Put an or here. Let's just take it away. We'd say plus. So we don't want to put an and right here. We want to put an or. So yeah, or that's what we want to use right here, not an and. If you put an and, you'll never see result. So put an or where the except. Yeah. Here the except contains what you have in the input button. Then give it again another or, add another search filter again and say where the except contains, where the blog content contains what you have in the input component. Yeah? Then you can say or. Okay, let's stop there. We can say or and we can go all the way to the category. Category name, post author, and other stuff. But let's just stop here for the sake of time. So you can see the way we did it. First of all, we brought in an input component down here to the screen. And secondly, we filtered the list. We filtered the list based on the phrase based on what will be entered on the input component. So let's go to our application, click on preview. Already have account, just going to log in with our normal account. So login. Oh, the account is not, it's not there. So I'm gonna just log in with this. Paul, log in with, let's call my full name Paul and say sign in. So you can see right here we have the search phrase and it says enter search phrase, and we have the blog here. So when I start typing, I say how to hit the word So you can see all the search phrase see exists. But let me search for the word title. You see, we have just one. We have just one article left. If I search for the word title, because it appears in the subheading. But let's try the other one below. Let's type the word detailed and see what happens. You can see it appears to. Let's take it away. Just take it away. Make it empty. You see what happens. So let's look for this one here called accept. Let's just go down and say accept. You see what happened? Except you can see this happen. So that's the way you work with search in Adalo. It's pretty straightforward, right? It's not so complex and it's pretty easy. So that's the way you search stuff in Adalo. So, but if you're searching a very huge database, I advise you to search it via category, yeah, instead of searching it via a post. If you are creating an application that has a very huge database, I'd say search it via category instead of searching it via a post, because the number of categories you have will be very few, and so your app can run through it as fast as possible. But if you have millions and millions of posts, it will take a while before it happens. Or you can use an external search, search database like search tool like Agora. You can use Agora API to do the search. Agora is a very is a behemoth when it comes to search. So you can use Agora to do so in your mobile application. So I'll see you in the next class. That's how you implement search in your Adalo application. I'm pretty sure you've used navigation in your application before. When it comes to mobile application, you're always navigating everywhere. Adalo gives you the opportunity to use its own custom navigation, but you can use your own navigation the way you want it. For example, this right here that we're seeing right here, it's a navigation. If we click it, it takes us back to the last screen. So everything, all these buttons, they are navigation. But what we want to create this time is a navigational menu. That's what we want to create. You've seen those menus you see at the bottom of your application, right? The bottom of your application, or you could see them on top of it like so, that when you click it, it brings out another screen that is very useful. So let's do it this way. Let's go to click on the plus sign and say menu. So this is a drop down menu, but we don't want to drop down menu. Let's just go click on nav. Just click here and say navigation. So we're going to use this one. Yeah, the one at the down. So this is the top bar navigation. You can use it at the bottom. You can use it on top. So we'll click it and just drag it here like so. So you can see the way it fits. It fits very well in your application right there. And it fits to the bottom. So irrespective of what happens in our application, it's going nowhere. So what you want to start doing is that you want to start pointing your navigation to different places. So when this is clicked, what do you want to happen? When this is clicked, what do you want to happen? So what we're going to do, we're going to add a couple more screens. Click on the plus sign and just add a screen. So we just add a screen and just call it team. Just call the screen right here team. We're going to add another screen. Click on the plus sign, say screen, add another screen called about. So now we've added two more screens, and then how will our user navigate to these screens? What we'll do is that this particular navigation right here, so what we want to do is that we're going to copy this to this other screen immediately we configure it. So let's go to the options. So if we click on it, we see all these options. The first options, you don't have to touch it. It goes to the home all the time. You don't have to touch it, because if you click it and say add an action, so you can, if you add an action and say link to what, it can link to Ceph. So you just leave it alone, so you don't have to touch it, or you don't even have to put it here. You don't have to touch it at all. Just leave it there. And then when we go to our second application, you can see the second menu item is called search. So we can add an action and say link to the team screen, or let's just link it to the team screen if we want to. Yeah, right there. So we link it to the team screen, and transition is called push. So we can use different transitions in Adalo. You can see we have tons of transition here, but it's okay. You can experiment with that later. But let's just stick with push. Then we'll go back to the third one, and we have people. Click on the action, and then you say link to the about screen. So that's what happens. So right here, once we're done with configuring this, we can copy, do a Ctrl+C, do a Ctrl+V, and just drag down here. Drag down here, like so, and then go back again and configure it. Configure where you want it to go. This first one, the home button here will be active. Click on the add icon and say link to the home screen. Why? Because we're not on the home screen anymore, so we can tell other items to link to the home screen. And this right here for the teams, for the the search screen is linked to the team screen, so we don't have to add it there. It's not going to be active, so it's not gonna, even when you click on it, it's still going to be on the same screen. It's not going to be active. For the third screen, it's going to link to the about screen, which is safe. So this also, we can do a Ctrl+V, Ctrl+C, and copy it and put it right here. Put it right here and see what happens. It's same thing. The same thing just keeps going and keeps on going and keeps on going. So if we decide to say let's preview our application, you would see we can move from one screen to another simply by clicking on that navigational menu. So I'm going to say I already have an account. Enter hello, yeah, and just go with Paul. Say login. Let's go with the hello. Okay. Let's go with the email address and stick with Paul. Stick with Paul. Then we can see we now have a menu that sits at the top, right at the bottom of the application. So if we click on the search, it goes all the way to the search screen. If we click on the team, it goes all the way to the team screen. Click on the home, it goes back again to the home screen. So that's how you do it. And one other thing that can make this seamless is that we can cancel. We can go back, click right here, go back to the nav screen like so, and go to the link. So for the transition, just say no transition. It's going to be seamless, like it's some sort of a magic something. Just go back here and say no transition. Then click on the preview again. And click on the search. Just click on the search. See what happened? Click on the team. So the transition here becomes a whole lot faster. Don't think of it this way. Your app is just a lot of screens. That's what it is. It's just a lot of screens. So every time a user clicks something, it just brings in another screen. A user clicks something, it brings in another screen. Let's click on the plus sign again and try the other type of menu. We'll click on the app bar and just put it right here. What the app bar mostly does is that it just takes your screen back and forth, back and forth. That's what the app bar does, back and forth. So if we come back here and say, hey, what color? They said the color is solid. We can make it translucent if we want to. We can make it the background image if we want to, which we don't want. But we just say, hey, we want it to be a solid color. You can see this background has a shadow. It has a left icon. And it has a left icon. This left icon just takes it back to the previous screen. If we add an action, we'll say link back. That's the action you always give it right there. Link back to the other screen. Then we also have the title. The title is the screen title always. Yeah, that is the screen title. It just takes the title of the data you're sending from this screen to the other screen. Since we are in the search screen, so we can call the title search, and that's really fine. Then we can also add the right icon. We can also add another icon on the right. We can also have two icons at the back on the right. This just really works. Probably you want your users to be able to maybe go to their profile. You want them to be able to do something extra, or you want it when users click on this search icon, you want the search box to come out, stuff like that. That just really works. So that's how you create a top level navigational menu in Adalo. There's something else I love to show you. Let's just type the word here, menu. So click on it and bring it down here. It's called a drop down menu. What you use this for mostly is when you want to select something, like maybe like a category, mostly a category. So if I click on it, a category, it brings a drop down of the category, and then it brings a drop down of the category when you click on it. That's basically what happens most of the time. And then you can say, oh, I want this to auto refresh every time. That's what basically happens. Nothing else. That's just what happens when you add a category to this drop down menu. That's what happens all the time. So let's go try. Click on the preview button. Say search, and we can see we have the drop down menu, right? We have the menu, we have the drop down. That's what basically happens when you. So you can use this drop down to sort. You can use it to sort for stuff. That's what you can use it to do. You can use it to sort for stuff. If we go back to our application and we put a list, we just do a copy of this list, Ctrl C, Ctrl V, and just drag it to this list right here. Drag it to this list right here and go to our feature. So let's just delete the other features that we have right there and go to add custom feature. You would say where the category name, yeah, contains the other component, the drop down name, right? That's what you say, when it contains it or when it's equal to this. So when you search it, it just works. That's the way you do it. When you search it, it just works. So that's another way to sort things out in your Adalo application. That's another way to create a drop-down menu in your Adalo application. So we are almost rounding up in our Adalo fundamentals. Okay, I think we have two classes left. The first is how to create a model pop-up screen, and the second is how to create conditional visibility in your Adalo application. I'll see you in the next class. A lot of times in your application, you will be hiding stuff based on certain conditions. You will decide to hide a list, you will decide to hide a menu, you will decide to hide things based on certain conditions. So this is the way visibility works. If this condition is met, show this to me. If it's not met, do not show it. So we're gonna turn this list into something now. So let's add a conditional visibility to this menu. So the way we're going to do it is that we'll leave the filter right there. We are only going to show this list if this search box, this input box is not empty. If it's empty, we're not going to show it. But if it's not empty, then we'll start showing it. Some sort of a magic, right? It's just like the way it is on Google. Your Google search tab will be empty until you start inputting things on it. When you start inputting things on it, then it populates by itself. That's the same way Google does it. It's called conditional visibility. So what we'll do is that we'll click on the list right there, click on this icon and say change visibility. Scroll down and say sometimes, not always visible. Sometimes if other component input is not equal to empty. It's not equal to empty. So just leave it like so. If the conditional input is not equal to empty, make it visible. But that means if it's equal to empty, it's not going to be visible. Let's go try it. Click on the preview button. So you can see right there, it is not visible. The reason why it's not visible is because there's nothing right there. But when we start typing the word how, see what happens? It's visible all of a sudden because of conditional visibility. But if we delete it, you see it's no longer visible anymore. It's just waiting for the user to type something. It's no longer visible. But when we type again, we type the word except. See what happens? It's now visible. So that's the way you hide stuff. You can hide so many things based on conditional visibility. You can hide a button. You can hide everything in your application. And not just that, you can also hide based on if a condition is met. For example, let's go back to our database, go to our user, add a new property and call it row. Just call it row. Call this property row. Then click save, go to your mobile application and click on the first one. Let's edit the first one and turn the role to user. Turn the role to user. Another way to do it would be to use a boolean function, a boolean property. Just say admin or not. So just use a boolean and say this one is admin, yes, this one is admin, no. Instead of using the role, you can just add a boolean property and say, just say add a true or false property. You can just add a true or false property. So add the property, call it true or false, and just type it admin. So this particular one, you would say admin, no. So if you're not an admin, what are you? You are a user. So click on the button here. Let's just go and make this paul.nocode.com an admin. Say it's true. So if we're making this true, the other one is automatically false. Don't worry. So once it's empty, it's automatically false. You don't have to do anything. So we can say we want this to be visible. We want this list to be visible if the user is an admin. So we'll click on the three icon, change visibility, and say sometimes visible when if logged in user admin is true. If logged in user's admin is true, then it will be visible. Then if logged in user admin is false, it's not going to be visible. That's the way you make it work. So let's go to our database, click right here. Let's just change the password and make it the same thing. Change the password. Let's just make the password here Paul so we can quickly switch accounts. So click on the other one, we'll make it Paul so we can switch account like so. Say done. So let's preview. Remember, we say if the admin is true, we should not show it. So click on the search here. This is where we are. That's the method you would use to create a two-sided application where you have the admin and where you don't have the admin. So you can see right there, it's not showing. The reason why it's not showing is because the admin, it's not there. That's the reason why it's not showing. It's not, this particular person is not an admin. That's why it's not showing. So let's log in with the other person. Say preview. Let's preview with the other person. Let's just log out. Preview with this other person. It should show now because this person is an admin, so that's why it should show. So let's just click on it and say Paul. Log in. So click on the search. Okay, it should show because this person is an admin. So I think there's something wrong. Let's go back here. Click on it. Sometimes visible if logged in user is the admin. Let's just take this away and just leave it like so. This is a team, right? So let's take it away, leave it like so. It's visible. So just take it away. Let's go back again to the preview. Click on the search. It's not visible. Let's go back again to our application. Click on our database. Click on our record and see. Okay. The first one is false. The one we're logged in with is false, so that's why it's not working. But this other one is true. Let's go back to our application. Click on the preview now. Log out. Click on already have account. Say we want to log in with paul.nocode.com. Click on the login button right there like so. And then click on the search. So you can see it's showing now because this person is an admin. So that's the way you do things. This is just how it works when you want to hide things from a regular user and you want to leave stuff for a normal users. So I'll tell you about security later. There are some security features that you can use in Adalo that I will show to you that will be very important. These are conditional visibility. Anyone with some sort of a very good hacking system can actually see all this. So there are other ways that you can stop those persons from seeing your data when you're using conditional visibility. I'll see you in the next lesson. You must have seen pop-up in your application. So when you click some stuff a lot of time, it opens a pop-up for you. So a pop-up is just a screen that is not transparent. That's what a pop-up is. A pop-up is just a screen that is transparent with a box on top of it. That's how simple a pop-up you can. That's just what a pop-up is. So let's create a pop-up. Let's create a pop-up. Put a screen here and just click it. Add a screen and say a blank screen and say model pop-up. Create screen. So these are model pop-up. Click on the screen itself. Go to edit style. Scroll down. Background. Yeah. Reduce the transparency to nothing. Say nothing. That's one. So the transparency of the screen is nothing. Why? Because because our application is layer upon layer. That's what our application is. So now, because we want this screen to overlay another one, we're making the transparency 0. So then we'll go back to our plus sign and let's just add a rectangle to it. Go to simple. Click on this. So you can use this to ask people, are you sure you want to delete it or not? Are you sure you want to delete it? So instead of your delete button deleting anything from your application, your delete button would then trigger this pop-up and would say, hey, are you sure you want to delete it? If they click yes, then you actually delete the file, especially if the file is super important to your application. So we'll just add a red like so. Here's a pop-up. So you can do some designs. You can turn the border. You can add some nice border radius if you want to, some rounding, just like so. You can add some for border radius. Love to use 15. It's cool. You can add some nice border radius and click on the plus. Put a button in here. Put a button in here and maybe just make it white. Make it a white button. Like so, or you can change the color. You can turn it into anything you want to turn it. It's fine. Then let's put an icon. So you've seen a pop-up before, right? So the icon, it's always somewhere around here that tells the user, hey, cancel. So when you click that icon, it just closes the pop-up. That's what it does. It closes the pop-up and takes you to the previous screen that you've been at. So it's always somewhere around here, like so. And we'll just give it a white color. Like so. So this is just for closing the pop-up. Don't worry, it's not so complex. That's for closing the pop-up, and then you can group everything, make everything a group so it stays one place. So you can see what we have here. It's a group, so it stays one place. Let's add this to the group. So let's ungroup. Yeah, just add to a group so it goes everywhere that you go in. So the reason for group, it will stay group or no group, but the reason for the group is just to have that cohesion. That's the reason for the group. And then we can add a test. You can add a test button that says yada yada yada. Are you sure you want to exit? Are you sure you want to get out of your payment plan? Are you sure about that? So you put everything in the middle, go like so. Write something like, are you sure you want to exit? So just like so. So when they click on the button, users click on the button, users can exit. So exit. Then probably if it's something that you don't want the users to do, you can put some sort of an emoji, some sort of a crying emoji, stuff like that on your application. So we'll do this, and that's it. That's just basically how it works. And then it's been grouped already. Let's just go again and just group everything again. Just group, don't worry, it's fine. Let's just group everything again. And then we'll go back to let's just go to our menu. Or instead of putting the menu right there, this is what we'll do. We'll go back to, just take away the home button right there, like so. Take away the home button. Click here and put the button right there and just say open pop-up. So this is just some experiment. So say open pop-up, take away this. So what this will do is that it will open this pop-up right here. So we'll go to action, click on action and say link to modal pop-up. That's what we say. Link to modal pop-up, and transition will be modal. That's what you call it. So you say transition modal. So Adalo will know that I have to put this thing on top of it. That's how you do it. Transition will be modal, so Adalo can put this on top of it. So we'd say done. So let's go to our screen, click on preview. Click on open pop-up. Can you see? So sleek. That's the way it opens. You see the way it opens? So cute. It's not going anywhere, so we can't cancel. So we can use the other things we've learned before to make this happen. So click on preview again. I just want you to see one more time to see how cool it is. Click on open pop-up. You see it comes straight up. That's the way you do it. There is a pop-up, like I said, it's just a screen that has zero transparency. So we can then put an action to this button and tell this button when you click we want you to close. That's the way you create a pop-up in Adalo. So I have a couple of bonus classes down there. Check it. It's really going to benefit you. But this is the end of the Adalo fundamental course before we head on to the projects. But I have a couple of bonus classes right there. Check it. It's really going to benefit you. So let's talk about security in our mobile application. Definitely you put password in your application, you set conditional visibilities in your application, but a lot of time these hackers can still access some of the things in your application when you use filter. So filter is not a security option, it's just a way to hide things from a user, but it's not a security option. A good way to get started with security is to go to your database, click on the records, and click on this. So what you're doing is that you're not just clicking in your database. You're going to each collection that you have and say what a person cannot access and what a person can access. So if you click on this connection, you can tell. If you click on this, you can set permissions. And here you can say, I want people, nobody can view this record because it's important. When you have things like account numbers, you have things like CVV numbers, you have things like password, you can tell that nobody will be able to view this, password. Nobody. So you say save. So no one will be able to view that password. It's going to be hidden. So when you do that, you would see it's hidden. Normally your password is hidden, but let's go try something else. Click on set permissions and say for emails say nobody. Say save changes. Nobody will be able to view your emails once you do this. So that's some of the ways you can add security to your platform. Just say done, and you can do this for each of the sensitive data in your mobile applications. You just go ahead and set permissions. Set permissions. And another thing you can do also to make sure that your app is secured is to use third-party auth. When I mean third-party authentication, I mean you could link up with another tool, an SMS tool, or an email service provider that will send an auth password whenever a person sign up to your application. I mean that it will send an auth password to that person's email or the person's phone number, and when they enter that password, that's the only way they will be able to sign into your application. So those are some ways. I'm pretty sure there are lots of other features that Adalo will be releasing based on security, but those are some of the things you can do. And also, when you're using external APIs, do make sure that you trust those APIs. Do make sure that those APIs are following the rules, their development follows the rules and they're doing great before you use those external APIs before you add those external APIs to your collection. And also, if you're also using external collection, which we're going to talk about in the advanced parts of this course, if you're also using external collection, this is something that you should also be aware. When you're storing your username, your database somewhere else, be very careful be very careful and know that you trust that platform so it doesn't get breached. And so you don't want to cry, and you don't want intruders to be able to access your data's information just like so. So those are things that you really want to check while you're building your application. I'll see you in the next lesson. Adalo allows you to work with teams wherever they are. You can be 5 persons, you can be 4 persons working on one mobile application. Adalo allows you to do that. So a good way to do that will be to go to your settings. If you go to your settings, click on the app access and add a team member. So you just invite a new team member like so, put the person's email address right there, and the person will be able to see the same project in their dashboard, and both of you will be able to work together. And that's just the way it is, just add the email address right there and click on the invite key, and you'll be able to invite this person to your mobile application. So another thing that I also want to talk about again, will your website be clonable or not? If you're building something that you want, if you're building something unique and you're building something for a client, always say not clonable, which is the default. But if you're building something like a template, you can say, yeah, it's clonable. But always leave your default to not clonable, because when you share the link to people, some persons might be able to, do some magic, and they'll be able to clone the application that you're currently developing, which is not good for business. So since this is our last bonus class, something I want to do here, I want to show you the marketplace. If you click on the plus sign and scroll all the way to the end, you can see where it says Explore Marketplace. And the marketplace has two features. It has the free features, it has the premium features. Majority of the free features were produced by Adalo itself. So if you scroll down, you'll be able to see most of it were produced by Adalo itself, and they are really cool. This just enable you to add more awesome stuff to your more awesome stuff to your application that you want to use. For example, if you're building something like Clubhouse, the Jam Room will help you build something like that. If you want to generate an API, if you want to add Stripe, if you want to add you want to add a lot of stuff, different stuff to your application. But the premium part of it is also really cool, very, very cool. But they're not very expensive like you think they are. These can actually detect devices, two-state button. One plugin that I love is this input validation, because it's just super cool. This input validation is super cool because it validates if an input follows a particular rule. Sometimes you will tell a user to put like 8 different characters and they will not. So it's good that you use such an input like this to just know that the password that your user will be using will be very, very secure. But you can actually do that anyway. You can do that with an if statement. You can tell your form not to submit if the input is not more than 8. You can tell, but this just takes away the headache for you. It just takes away the headache for you, and just make it make sense. And also this particular works well. Confirm password sign up form. There's another one that works very well. Image animation, so you'll be able to add animation to your image. But a lot of things I'll say. If you're just getting started, you don't want to buy any of this. If you're just getting started, you don't have to buy any of this. The free version is good enough for you to build majority of the MVP you want to build, but it's also a good place for you to see what Adalo is capable of doing and what you can do with Adalo, and it's just fun. So that's it from here. This is the marketplace, and this is the last bonus class. Next, we're going to be building a blogging application together. I know we had a very good example of the blogging application already. I'm pretty sure you already have some knowledge about it, but this time we're going to be building it together, and we'll build it from the beginning till the end. I'll see you in the next lesson. Hi, welcome back to this course. So it's time for us to get started with our project. This time we're going to be building a blogging app. Of course, some of the examples we used during the course was a blogging app, but this time we're going to be diving in seriously into the act of creating your own blogging app. First, let's get started with the database. Every blogging application needs the user, and the user needs to have a name, an email, bio, profile photo, and a list of posts that he or she has created. Then also we have the post. A post will have a title, featured image, excerpts, categories, post content, and comments. And then we have comments that belongs to one post. The comment will have a content. We'll have the post the comment belongs to, and we'll also have a list of users who have made comments to that post. So let's go ahead and create our database. Just same app. We're using the same application. Or let's go start with another one. Click on the plus sign, say create application, same app, blank template. We'll say Nocode, demo blog. So now we are starting afresh with a blank template. Let's go back to our database, click on database, click on our user. So here we have our user. Our user have the email, the password, the username, and the full name. So let's add a property. Let's call this bio. Let's call this bio. Save. Add another property. Image, call it profile photo. Profile photo. And that's the only thing we have to do here. Then let's go ahead and set up our post. Add a collection and say this is a collection called post. And remember, our post will have different properties. So first, the first properties will be the title. The second property will be the content. And the third property will be the featured image. And then we have another property called date. Published date. Save. Then we also have another property called post category. Then we have accepts. So let's go add post accepts. So it's just a few words that users will read before they sign up. So we have post accepts. Let's go ahead and create another collection. Add collection. Say categories. And this time we just need to add the name of the category. That's all. So we don't need to add anything else. So let's just change this to category name. Then next, click on save. Add another collection, and this time call it comments. Say add. Click here and say comment. Then that's all we need. Let's go check it again. So that's all we need. We have comments, post content, accept, and featured image. So once we've done that, the next thing is to create relationship between all of this collection we've created. So add. So I'll start from the comment section. Add, and we'd say relationship with the post. And here, a post can have multiple comments. A comment belongs to one post. So it's going to be a one-to-many relationship. We would say create. So we'll then call this associated post. We just call it like so. Then we'll go to the post category, rename it. So these are comments. So that's fine. Next, we will associate our post to our user. So click on add relationship to users. A user can have multiple posts, and a post belongs to many users. So also, this is a one-to-many. So we'll just call this post creator. Say save. Then go back to the user. Yeah, this is the number of posts for the user, and that's fine. Then let's click on the categories and associate it with the post. So this time we'll say a post can have multiple categories. A category belongs to one post. No, a post can only have one category. A category can have multiple posts. So this is going to be a many-to-one relationship. So that's fine. Click on the post and we'll see categories. That's fine. So those are the few relationships that we need to add to our blogging application. And if you want to move it further, you can also create a relationship between the comments and the user. Even though you have a relationship between the post and the user, you would say, no, create a relationship between the comment and the user. A user can have multiple comments. A comment belongs to one user. So this is the way it's going to be. So comment by, so we just say comment owner. That's fine. So if you want to move further with this, another thing you might want to do, give people the ability to upvote and downvote comments, or to upvote a post and to downvote a post. So the way that's going to work is that because you want just one user to be able to downvote a post and upvote a post, what you want to do is that you want to create a many-to-many relationship with a many-to-many relationship with the post, because a user can downvote many posts and can upvote a lot of posts. So we'll just go back to here, add property, relationship, and say post. It would say many-to-many relationship. A user can have multiple posts, and a post belongs to multiple users. So this is going to be, though we're not going to add this feature in our application, but it's something that you can easily do. So we'll say upvotes. So this will enable so many users to vote for one post, and just that's the way it's going to be. So if you want to upvote comments, the same thing. You do the same thing. You say many users can have multiple comments, and many comments can have multiple users. So that's it. That's how to set up your database. Next, when we come back, we'll build the app interface itself. I'll see you in the next lesson. Welcome back to this lesson. The next thing you want to do is to go ahead and add some demo data into your database. So add some demo comments, add some demo categories, and add some posts. It's pretty easy. Click on the post, click on the record, and say add post. So just go ahead and add a post title, content, add a featured image, add a published date, post excerpts. You don't need to add a comment. Just click on yourself, register yourself as a user, then click on yourself as the post creator, add a category, and that's all you have to do. So go ahead and do this and come back to this lesson so we move forward. Thank you. So welcome back. Hope you've been able to add post, add some information to your records. So this is what I did myself. I added a new user. Yeah, then I went ahead to add a new post, 3 new posts, a couple of it like this, and then I went ahead to add some categories, 2 categories, which is news and the spot. Remember what we said, a post belongs to a category, but a category belongs to a single post. And then I added a comment, just 1 comment, but the other comment we're going to be adding ourselves later. So let's go ahead and build the front face of our application. I'm going to click on the plus sign. Remember, we have the marketplace, and there's this component I found in the marketplace, a slider. So this is the slider, an image slider. This works really great, especially if you're also building some sort of an online store. You want to display some of the products, like so. So we could say this is what kind of image do you want to display? We want to display the post. We want to display all posts. Yeah, that's what we want to display. Then we want to sort from published date, newest to oldest. That's what we want to do. And then the current post will be the current post image. Then if we click on the action, it will lead us somewhere. That's what we want to do. We want this action to lead us somewhere out of this to another screen. For example, if we preview it, you see what's going to happen if we preview it. So I'm just going to I already have an account and log in as this guy and say login. So you see this is a slider, these are post slider. So this can work for your onboarding screen if you want to. It can work as an onboarding screen for you, or it could work as it has so many functions when it comes to Adalo. When you're onboarding stuff, you want to show people new stuff. You want to show people what your app does, how your app does it. So you can make that an image, so you don't have to create too many screens all at once. Where you have the onboarding screen and the person is saying, this is what our app is all about, this is what our app will do, and then the person can sign up or log in, just like so. So let's create a new screen. So what will our app do? When they click on this image, it would say add an action, yeah, like so, and say create a new screen. It will link to a new screen and we would say post details. That's what we'll do, post details. Say we're going to use this one. Say create screen. Then remember, Adalo has a way of moving data from one screen to another. So the data of this post is moved to this other screen. So what we want to do is to click on the plus sign and add an image, add a a text and click on the plus sign and say current post title. Then probably we can give it we can make it bold and give it a 20. Give it a 20. That'll be awesome. And then we can then click on the plus sign and add an image, which is going to be the current post image. That's what we're going to add. The current post image, so we'd say select database current post featured image. Take it up a little bit, then click on the plus sign and put another text. So this is going to be the current post accept. That's what it's going to be. Click on the plus sign. Click on the plus sign if you want to. You don't have to do this, yeah. You don't have to put the accept. You put it if you want to, but it's not compulsory. So we're going to say post accept. Then make it a little bit semi-bold so it'd be different from the post itself. And this time we'll add another. And just call it, this is going to be the post content. This is going to be the post content. You know, content, we would say post content, yeah, that's what it's going to be. Then after the post content, we want to leave a way for people to leave feedback. That's why we want to leave a list of comments that belongs to this particular post, and also give a way for users to leave feedback. There's a way I love to do this. So first of all, we can add a, okay, don't worry, we'll talk about that later. We'll talk about comments later in the course, but let's just keep going. So let's customize our homepage further. Click on the plus sign. This time we want to add a list. Just want to add a list of posts. That's what I want to add. So we're going to add a card. We're going to add a card and take it down like so. And this time this is going to be a list of posts, yeah. And this is going to be all posts, and we're going to filter it based on the published date. Based on the published date. That's what we're going to, that's that. Now, don't worry, not filter, we're going to sort it. We're going to sort based on published date from newest to oldest, and then we'll scroll down and we're going to say we just want a single column. Yeah, we just want a single column like so. Then we'll click on the plus sign. Let us drag it down a little bit. Then click on it again, and the title, yes, it's going to be the post title. Subtitle, we'll take the subtitle, remove the subtitle. The image, it's already there. Then the body, we're going to change the body to the accept. We're going to change the body to the accept. Post accept, as we're going to change the body to, and leave it like so, 15 normal. Then for the card style, we're going to leave it like so. That's fine. And that's all we have to do right here. Then we're going to add an action. What happens? We want to take it to the post details screen. That's what we want to take it to. For the action, we would say link to post details. Don't worry, the reason why we're linking to post details is because what we have up here and down here is the same. Let's go ahead and preview our application. So you can see what we have here. This guy is scrolling. This post itself is scrolling on top like so. So users can click here, but then we have series of other posts that they can look at. So it's right here. But let's go ahead and fix something. This here, drag it downwards a little bit. Yeah, the number of columns is just 1, which is all right. So we can say auto refresh, which is good, so that whenever you add the content, it just refresh just like so. And then let's go ahead and say plus sign. We're going to add a category this time. So this really works. This works also for your online store, for anything you want to create. We're going to add a category, so people can just browse the category and find the kind of information they're looking for. So this is going to be a category immediately, and this is going to be a list of categories, all categories, and that's all. So you don't have to sort this one. This is going to be a list of category. Then we'll come back here to our database and come to our database. Not here. Come to our database. Click on the category and just add. Click on the not so. Click on the add property and say image and add the avatar. So this is going to be the category avatar because it's super unnecessary. Without the avatar, the image will not show. So go ahead and add some avatar, like 4, and add more categories. Add like 2 more categories and add more your avatar image, and come join me in the next class. I'll see you then. Welcome back. Hope you've created your own avatar. So I went ahead to add 2 avatars. It might not be super appropriate, but we're just going to use it for this class. So if you're wondering how I did add it, so this is the way I did it. Created a new category and probably say movies. And then click on the add avatar. And then I'll just go ahead and look for some image. So your avatar should be pretty small. This is large and it's not going to be very appropriate. So that's how it's done. Just going to create another one again and call it lifestyle. And click on the avatar. It should be very tiny. It should be very tiny and also represent the category that you're trying to talk about. So this is lifestyle, and I'm just gonna pick something. Yeah, I think food would be alright. So instead of lifestyle, I just change it to food. I think that'll be more appropriate. And say save. So click on the done. So what we want to do is that we'll click on this category again and scroll down. Click on the image options, image width. It's alright, but you can always come back and check it. You can always come back and check it all over again. So this is the avatar list. That's what we have. The image, we're just going to select it and say current avatar. If there's no image, there should be a placeholder if there's no image. Then we'll scroll down, click on the image option. You can increase the width or you can reduce the image width if you want to. You can increase the rounding or you can reduce the rounding if you want to. For the test is just going to be the category name, and position is bottom, is quite alright. Empty state is alright. This only happens. Empty states are used when there is no category. So if you're creating an application where the user has to do everything, the user has to create a category, has to create a story, then you're going to be using lots of empty states. It's saying what this means is that what's going to happen, what's going to be there if there is no information. For example, we have a list of posts right here, but you're going to say what's going to be here if there is no post. If the user has not created any post, what's going to be here? That's what you're looking for. So I'm just dragging this downwards. Click on the plus sign and come back here and just say, right there, say latest. Just click here and say latest stories. Latest stories, click on the formatting. I'll say bold, make it 18, like so. That's what I'll do. Edit style, scroll down. I think that's alright. So latest stories, click on the that's latest stories, and I'm gonna screw this down a lot. Just gonna screw this down a lot. Then duplicate this, the latest story, duplicate it. Ctrl C, just the way you duplicate in Microsoft Word. Just use the word categories. You can use something else when you're building yours, but we just want this to be pretty fast. So click on the preview. So we have latest stories, and then we have our categories. If we click on our categories, it doesn't go anywhere because we didn't create that. So if we scroll down, we now have, so we have, these are categories. If it's more than one, it keeps scrolling just like the image right here. It keeps scrolling like the image, but you can see some of the images that we're using, they're not very fancy, they weren't well designed. So that's something that you want to do. You want your application to stand out, so you want to design most of this category images. So let's go to add one thing more. Click on this, click on the category list, then we'd say action link to. So what this is supposed to do, this is supposed to open all the posts in this category, in a particular category that the user select. So we're going to say new screen, say we're just going to call this category screen. So that's what we're going to call it, category screen. Just call it the app bar, and you can change all this later if you want to. So this is going to be a list of posts, the same thing. Click on the plus sign and just add a list. So this is going to be a list of posts. We're just going to use this tiny list right here. So you would say, what's it going to be? List of posts, right? Filter based on current post category, current category post. So when the user click on this, it's going to show the post that belongs to the category the user clicked on, and that's all. So sort by publish date, newest to oldest, and for the action, link back to the post details screen. That's what you're going to do for the action, and that's super awesome. And for the title, you don't have to touch that, it's alright. For the subtitle, you can switch it off. For the left section, the image is going to be the current image avatar, and that's basically all you have to do. So if you click on the preview sign, you're going to see this work. Let's click on the preview sign. So if we click on the sports category, you see it will come to this category screen and show all the posts in the sports screen. Go back, click on the news screen. It shows the post from the news screen, and then we can click on the screen. It shows us everything that we want to know. So that's how you do this. Next lesson we'll be working in the comment section, and I think that will be a wrap for us. So welcome back. So what we're going to do now is we want to add the list of comments. We want to add a comment and we want to give users the ability to leave comments. Remember, we've created a relationship already, and now it's time for us to give them the ability to leave comments. So click on the plus sign first of all. Let's drag a list right here. This is going to be a list of comments. A list of comments. That's what it's going to be. So remember I said you can customize this a whole lot better, and allow your users to vote comment, upvote comment, stuff like that. That's something you can do. But let's do it this way. Let's do something very beautiful. Click on the plus sign. Let's add a rectangle. I love using rectangles because they are it's just one of the best feature in Adalo, rectangle, because you can make almost anything out of it. So we turn the color to white, the same white, the background color, make it white, but this time we're going to add some shadow to it. Yeah, we're going to add some shadow to it. Click on this and scroll down. Let's add some shadow. So if we exit it, so you can see it has some shadow to it now. Click on the post details screen, scroll down, so you can just scroll down, don't worry, there's nothing there. Scroll down, click on the plus sign, and let's add a test feed and say post comments. That's what we're gonna do. And just make it a little bit bold. Yeah, that's fine, little bit bold. Turn it to black. Yeah, that's fine. And click on the plus sign and drag a list right here. So this is going to be a list, but it's going to be a list of comments. Yeah, it's going to be a list of comments like so. Drag, and don't worry about it. This is going to be a list of comments. That's what it's going to be. So we can, what we can do is we can expand the rectangle to just make it go over the list. So it doesn't have to. We can expand it to make it go over the list so we can group it. So once we do so, we just group everything together. highlight everything and say make a group. That's all. Why? The reason we're making a group so that everything can stick together in one spot. That's the reason we're making it a group. And then we click on the individual item and say this is going to be a list of comments. And it's asking you what type of comments. Would say current post comments. That's it. Then sort from the newest to the oldest, just like the way you create a blog for it. Sort from the newest to the oldest and say just leave it like so. And then we'll go for the title. The title is the comments. Yeah, the name, the comment itself, and the subtitle should be the name of the person who commented. That should be the top title. Subtitle should be comment owner's name, username. That should be the subtitle. And then we'll have the left section. Left section should be the image of the said post owner's featured image. So that will be the title. And so that's how you leave comment in your application. Let's go ahead and do one more. The ability for people to comment on a particular post. And how we're going to do that? We'll do that via a form. And so we're still going to be using the rectangle on this one. Click on the list. Click on that. Click on simple. Yeah. Click on simple. Drag it down. So we're going to put this here. Put it here. So we're just going to put it here. Yeah. Put it here like so. So you pull this at the bottom of it. What you want to add is a form. So we can turn this into a blue color if you want to. You can turn this into a blue color. So users can not a blue color actually, into a color that makes sense. You can just turn it into a color that makes sense so users will know it's different from all other things on your website. And then what we're going to do, we'll put a form. We put an input, not a form actually, put a test input. That's what we'll put here. So we'll put a test input. So we put it here and then click on it. We would say change it to leave a comment. That's what we'll change it to. Then we'll add a button to it. Normally, what you can do with other apps is that when you say leave a comment, you're supposed to be able to just hit the enter button, and that's all you want to do. But that only works with forms. It doesn't just work like so in Adalo. So you won't be able to just drop this input feed just like so, and it works. No, it's not going to work. So what we can do is that we'll click on the plus sign and then add a button. So you can add a button or you can add an image. Anyone you like, it's fine. But we're just going to add a button. So this button is a bit big. Yeah, it's a bit big. So we'll take it to the side instead. And make the comment section a bit bigger, and just put it like so. So this can work. We can put it on top or we can put it under. It's same thing. It's going to be the same function. After all. So take it sideways and then click on the button here. It's contained and that's all right. And we'll just say send, or we can say send, or we can say post. You can leave it and say comment if you want to. You can leave it and say comment and just make it a bit medium size instead of bold, and then that's all we have to do right here. So we would say click on the button. We'll add an action to the button. Say add action. We would say create a new comment. That's what we want to do. Create a new comment. That's what we'll do. So we'll create a new comment, and the comment itself, when we click on it, it will be the other component input. That's what we'll do. That's what it will be. As you said, post will be the current post, and the comment owner will be logged in user, and it would say done. That's all we have to do. Nothing else. So one thing also that you can do you can also associate it and say add another action, and then you can say you want it to be you want to trigger some notification. So you could trigger some notification on the app and say, hey, thank you for leaving a comment. So you can trigger a notification. The recipient will be the logged in user, and the title, the screen. You can trigger a notification and say thank you for logged in comment, but that's not what we want to do right here. Or you can just trigger a modal button or a modal screen. You could trigger a modal screen to tell them your comment has been submitted. So after then, the person can cancel and go back. Just go back to the main screen that you want them to go to. And so let's do one thing more. Just highlight everything you have here and make it a group. So the reason we're making a group is because Adalo uses Flexbox, like we've explained before, and so it's better for you to just group stuff. It's just better for you to group stuff. Yeah, it's better. So after grouping it, let's click on it and say edit style, because we want to leave it at the bottom. So feast will say bottom, so that whenever a user is scrolling, a user can scroll through a post, but this will still be at the bottom of it. So that's the way we want to do it. And then for the bottom, we'll click on this again, click on this, and we'll say arrange, bring to forward. So bring forward so that other posts can scroll beneath it. That's the reason why we're doing that. So let's click on the preview again. So we just clicked on the preview. Going to click on this. So you can see we have our comments right here. It's right here. And if we scroll down, see just scrolling beneath it, and we can leave a comment here. We can leave a comment and say, this is stunning. So this is stunning. Leave the comment. So you can see it added up immediately, just like so. We can keep leaving a comment and it keeps adding up. But I think we got something wrong here, which is the image is displaying is supposed to be the image of the user, not the image of the post. So let's click exit from this screen. Click right here. Let's go fix it. Go scroll downwards. Click on the left action. We would say current, associate owner, associate comment owner, profile photo. That's what we're going to say. Profile photo of the owner of the comments. That's what we want to do. So let's click on this again. Scroll down. That should have changed. So this person doesn't have a profile photo, so that's why it's not showing. But if the person has a profile photo, of course it's going to come up very fine. So that's how you create a blog. You can go ahead and add other features if you want to. Some of the features you might want to add will be the ability to like, the ability to upvote a comment. So you can put an icon here that when the person clicks it, it adds upvotes the comment. When the person unclick it, it removes from the comment. So it's just some sort of a counter, and that's all you can do. So that's it. So we just created a blog with how many screens? That's about 5 screens. And also another thing that you can do, something else that you can do also is that you can go ahead and create onboarding screens. So Adalo has something that it's called. If you click on this screen right here, if you click on the screen and say, Adalo will ask you what type of screen is this. You say welcome screen, home screen, onboarding screen. So you can see this home bar. That's why it's here. This is serving as the welcome screen, which is not supposed to be. This is supposed to be just a normal screen. So you can create a screen that welcomes people to the app and turn it into and just call it a welcome screen. So if you click on the plus sign right here and say add screen, you would see different type of screen. We would say this would be miscellaneous, I think so, or intro. Yeah, this would be the intro screen. So you can see the way it is like this would be like an intro screen. This would be an intro screen. So let's go add to it. So we would say click on the screen again, scroll down, would say intro screen, scroll down, and we'll just call it a welcome screen. So this would be some sort of a welcome screen that a user only sees once. So when the user first gets started with the application, the user will see it just once. So you can take it to the other side. We'll take it to the other side like so, and say what type of screen is it. you would say it's a welcome screen. So if your user is not logged in, this is the kind of screen they see first of all. But you can really maximize the welcome screen and change it, so you can put the swipes, you can put login, sign-ups, stuff like that. That really works great. So that's the end of this. That's the end of this project. I hope you enjoyed it. Go ahead and get started with building your own blog application. I'll see you in the next lesson. Say a big congratulations to you for getting started with this course and finishing it. It's been a long ride. I mean, that's like 2 hours of good content you just consumed right there. Thank you so much for getting started and finishing it. So if you have questions, feel free to leave it in the comment section and I'll do what to answer you. If you want to be part of a group, we have a Telegram group. The link is down below. Feel free to click on it and join us in Telegram, so you can, join a community of no-coders and ask, get good answers to your questions too. And if you're looking forward to getting forward with your Adalo journey, we have a more advanced course where we discuss APIs, we discuss more advanced we have more advanced lectures in Adalo. Feel free to check it out. It might be something that it might be something that will move you forward in your Adalo journey. And also, if you're looking forward to building mobile apps but you need a helping hand, feel free to reach out to us. Our email is right there. Feel free to reach out to us and we'll definitely build something wonderful for you. Thank you so much for stopping by. Do have a beautiful no-code journey ahead.